Hello everyone, welcome to Anonymous World. Hope you're doing well. So today is day 12 of Advent to Cyber 2023. So let's get started. So day 12 is defense in depth, laying threats one layer at a time. So with the chaos of the recent merger, the company's security landscape is turning to the Wild West. Servers and endpoints once considered fortresses now resemble neglected outposts on the frontier, vulnerable to any attacker. Okay. So in this task, we'll be hopping into Honeybell's shoes and exploring how the defense in depth strategy can help strengthen the environment's overall security posture. So learning objectives, defense in depth, basic endpoint hardening, and a simple boot to root methodology. So we need to start our VM as well as attack box, and there is also credential to connect directly to the VM via RDP, VNC, or SSH. So let's start our machine and also attack box. Let's go ahead. So the machine will be playing around with the vulnerable by design Ubuntu running a Jenkins service. Okay, so there are Jenkins services configured here, which is an open source automation server, commonly and widely used in DevOps for building, testing, and deploying software applications. Okay, so our attack box is ready. Let's connect uh, the IP via SSH. Let's open our terminal. Okay, yes. Password. Password is super strong password 123. Super strong password 123. Yeah, so we are logged in as admin in the Jenkins server. Let's clear the terminal. Let's go ahead. So guided walkthrough of the attack chain. So we are dealing with a server that is vulnerable by design and it contains misconfiguration and has been implemented with poor or we can just say non-existent security practices. So this part of the task will walk you through one of the many ways we can get elevated privileges on this particular server. So let's hit the IP 195.141. It's 10.10.195.141 and running on port 8000. Unable to connect. It was port 8000. Oh, sorry, it's 8080. Yeah, so we are logged in on Jenkins. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, getting a web shell. So we instantly gain access to the general working of Jenkins. Explore the features that we can play with, and we will see that there is a way to execute arbitrary scripts for administrator troubleshooting diagnostics on the machine. On checking this further, we will see this can be used to spawn a web shell. Okay, so click on the Manage Jenkins button on the left side of the page. Scroll to the bottom, and you will see the option we want, Script Console. So here you can find Manage Jenkins. Manage Jenkins. Now let's scroll down. Troubleshooting, reload configuration from disks. Now, so in tools, under tools and action, you can find Script Console, which is used to execute arbitrary script for administration, troubleshooting, and diagnostics. Here we can enter our script. So this is a feature that accepts Groovy, a type of programming language for the Java platform. Okay, so reverse shell script is given here. You need to give your attack box IP, then port number is defined here already. You can change that. String is cmd is equal to bin bash, which is telling to spawn a bash shell. Okay, so copy the script above the and paste it in the script console. Remember to change the host value to your attack machine IP and open a new terminal and set up a netcat listener using this command. Okay, so let's first copy this. Okay, so remember to change string host. So it's 10.10.145.145 for me. Let's copy this, paste, and we need to uh, start our netcat listener. So we'll open a new tab and see the port number is 6996. Hit enter and execute this script. Run. Let's see if something is happening on our listener. So you can see connection from 10.10.195.141 received. Let's go ahead. So getting the Tracy user and root. Now that we have a web shell with the Jenkins user, we can explore the server's content for things that we can use to improve our shell and perhaps elevate our privileges. So if you can see who am I is Jenkins, then we have a folder var lib Jenkins. Okay. Let's see. So check the user folder and you'll be able to find an interesting bash script file in the opt scripts folder named backup.sh. Upon checking the content of the file, we can find a simple implementation of backing up the essential components of Jenkins and then sending it to the home Tracy backup via SCP. And the file also contains the credential for user Tracy. So let's check that. We'll go to scripts, maybe backup.sh. Let's read that. Okay, so you can see this is a bash script. First it is making directory, backing up, and via SCP it is transferring the files. So first it is copying. Then you can see we have a username and password given for Tracy. So password is 13 slash whatever. Okay. Then SSH pass and via SCP the backup files are being transferred. The destination home Tracy backups. So let's since it is using SCP, we can try logging using SSH with Tracy user. So let's try that. Let's open up a new tab. We will do here SSH Tracy at the IP of that Jenkins 195.141 password. So the password is this. Yeah, so we are logged in as Tracy. You can see Tracy at the Jenkins. Where are we now? So at current we are at home Tracy. You can see a backup folder is made here. Let's see what's there. And a backup zip file is there. Let's do this. So there are a lot of files. Let's see what we need to do again. So finally we can use sudo l to find out what command the user is permitted to perform using sudo. So sudo l helps to find out what binaries or commands a particular logged in user can use with the help of sudo. So let's check that. We will clear this terminal. Use sudo l. It's again asking for password. Yeah, so you can see user Tracy is allowed to use all commands. So if we are allowed to use all commands, we can simply go to root using sudo su. You can see we are now root at the Jenkins. So let's go to root folder ls. So there is flag.txt. We can read that. So this is the root. Easy root without ID. Okay, let's go ahead. Now defense in depth and its role in hardening. So before that, let's see what questions are there. There must be question related to flag. So what is the default port for Jenkins? It was 8080. What is the password of the user Tracy? Okay, it was what was it? Yeah. Okay. Now what is the root flag? So we just found our root flag as well. Okay. So now what is the error message when you log in as Tracy again and try sudo after it's removed from sudo's group? Okay. So now we are done with the exploitation part. Now we want to uh, secure it or mitigate the mitigate whatever problem is there. And according to us, we can say we need to harden this now. So from the attacking point of view, we were able to get straightforward root access to server. Okay, so it was very easy. Just sudo su and you got the access. So, and this is surely a bad news for defenders since the goal is to make it as hard for the attacker as possible to get what they want. So in the next tasks, we will establish defensive layer that aim to work together with each layer making it more complicated for the attacker to achieve their aims. Okay, let's go. So guided hardening of the server. So going back to our attack exercise from earlier, we discovered that root is very easy to achieve. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to remove Tracy from the sudo group. So there is a sudo group where if you enter the user, then you can specify what command they are allowed to use. So we need to remove Tracy from there. So to remove Tracy from sudo group, we use the following command: sudo del user Tracy. Sudo. Okay. So let's do that. Okay, let's sudo del user Tracy. Sudo. Okay, removing user Tracy from group sudo. Now to confirm removal from the sudo group, use sudo lu Tracy. So it's capital U. User trace is not allowed to run sudo on Jenkins. So you can see the error message which we are receiving. Okay, SSH tracy at the rate 10.10.195.141 password. Let's copy the password again. Just enter the password. Okay, so we are logged in. Let's try using sudo l now. Sorry, user Tracy may not run sudo on Jenkins. So now you can see when we remove Tracy from the sudoers group, now Tracy can't run a sudo command. Okay. So now what's the SSH flag? Let's go ahead. How we can harden that more. Yeah, so just we saw earlier that changes to Tracy won't affect current active session. So we can test them by logging in again as Tracy on a new terminal on our attacking machine. Okay. So that's why this error was coming and the sorry error was not coming at that time. Okay. So now next part is hardening the SSH. The path to root has been made more complicated for the attacker, but that doesn't mean we can stop here. Attackers nowadays are very creative to finding all sorts of ways to accomplish previous escalation and then get whatever they want. So remember that as attackers, we were able to use SSH in the server to move laterally from a lower level user. And in light of this, we can disable password-based SSH logins. Okay, so in the admin shell, go to the etc SSH config. Okay, let's go there. Okay, so let's go to our admin terminal and we will edit our SSH config file. Okay, file etc ssh ssd config is unwritable. Okay, so we will look after that. Let's see. In the admin shell, go to this file and edit it using your favorite text editor. Remember to use sudo. Okay, so we need to use sudo. Find the line that says password authentication yes and change it to no. Remove the hashtag sign and change yes to yes. Okay, so hashtag means just that line is commented out, so it is no use. Next, find the line that says include this path and change it to hashtag. Just add a comment sign at the beginning of that. Save the file and enter the command sudo systemctl restart ssh. Okay, so let's do that. Sudo. Let's find our command. Sorry, line. Yeah, so here we need to give hashtag include etc ssh config. Okay, so we commented that out. Now let's find that password line. So you can see password authentication yes. So first we need to uncomment it and then we will change yes to no. Now save the file, Control X, then Y, hit enter. It is saved. Now we need to restart the SSH. Sudo systemctl restart SSH. Okay, it's done. So there is example given of this particular line. So we just did that. Let's go ahead. Now let's try logging to Tracy again. We will open our new terminal again. SSH Tracy at the rate 10.10. Your Jenkins IP. So you can see permission denied, public key. So no longer password authentication is enabled. So Tracy can't log in via username and password. Okay. So it's worth noting that applying this hardening step assumes that there are other ways for user to log into the system, admin account included, and it usually involves the setup of passwordless SSH login. So, however, for our purposes, we can opt not to do that anymore. So, stronger password policies. So we found that in that backup file, password was written in plain text. So we need to avoid that writing passwords in plain text. The user employed bad password policy, putting plain text credential in a script and leaving it lying around for anyone with server access to see. Okay, so even if you have a stronger password and you write it out in plain text, it doesn't matter. If anyone can access that password, so it's useless. Now promoting zero trust. So once we've applied all of hardening step discussed, we will notice that we are able to patch many of the vulnerabilities that we initially exploited to get to root. So we are back in the web shell that served as our initial foothold in the system, and it's accessible as a result of Jenkins implementation that assumes full trust within the environment. As such, it's fitting that the last hardening step we'll apply in the server is one that promotes zero trust. So what is zero trust? It basically means you don't trust anything. Instead of opening up working on the platform to everyone in the environment, this change will allow just those who have access to the platform. In the admin terminal, proceed to Jenkins home directory using the command cd varlib Jenkins. So until and unless you have access to the platform, you can't you can't see the whole environment there. Zero trust is applied. So let's do cd varlib Jenkins. Okay. So here you will see two versions of the Jenkins config file, XML and XML.bat. And luckily for us, the administrator kept a backup of the original configuration file before implementing the current one. Okay, as such, it will be more straightforward for us to revert it back to the original by removing the comments in the XML file. For reference, the comment syntax signed by exclamation hyphen hyphen right after the opening bracket and the hyphen hyphen right before the closing bracket. Okay, so using your favorite text editor, access the backup XML file and before the following block of line, the authorization strategy line. And we need to remove the comments for both authorization strategy as well as security realm. And then we can remove the current config file, which is config.xml just. Okay, so let's do that. If we do ls, we can see there are many files, but we are interested in config one. So there are two files, config xml and backup one. We need to play with the backup one. Okay, now let's find authorization strategy. Okay, yeah, this one, yellow one. So remove the comments also from the end. Yeah, it's done. Now same thing for security realm. Okay, and also from the end. So it is done. What's this? Full trust has no place in security. It looks like some flag. Let's copy this. It may be a use. Okay, save the file. Control X Y save. Okay, permission denied. Okay, so I think we didn't use sudo. We need to do this again. Save it. Okay, so our file is saved. Now we can remove the current configuration file, which is config.xml. Yes. Okay, again sudo. Sorry. Yeah, it's removed now. So you can see that file is removed. Now let's see what we have to do next. So after that, we can copy the backup file to make a new config file. Okay, and restart the service Jenkins. So let's copy this config and we will make a new one. And again sudo. I keep forgetting to use sudo. Now we need to restart the Jenkins. This time I was using sudo. You can see the background that web page is no longer loaded. Once that done, you will see that unlike before, the inner working of Jenkins are not accessible. It should be noted here that Frets installs of Jenkins feature a login page by default. So let's try that. Go to our browser. Let's open a new tab. So you can see now it is asking for username and password. And no longer all the features are accessible to everyone. So conclusion, defensive layer don't need to be flashy. You can accomplish a lot with one-liners and simple implementation of security best practices. Let's complete the remaining flags. What's the SSH flag and what's the Jenkins flag? Okay, Jenkins was this, I think. Yeah. What's the SSH flag? Where was that? Surely you wouldn't miss that in the SSH config file. Okay. We didn't notice that. Okay, man, it was here itself. Below password authentication. We were so busy in password authentication that we missed the flag. Need to secure these secure shell. Okay. So That was it for day today. If you enjoyed this room, you can check out SOC Level 1 learning path. So I will see you tomorrow in day 13. Till then, keep learning.